Hey everybody, welcome to this video which is intended to give you a bunch of advice for writing a better literacy narrative. So this video is intended to give you that push and also give you suggestions and strategies for pursuing and accomplishing a better literacy narrative, taking it from good or adequate to something really excellent. Okay, and if you have not yet read through this Project One literacy narrative prompt on your own, please stop the video, go do that first. I want you to read this in its fullness first. We're not going to be covering all the details right now, so pause the video, read that first, then come back to this video. Okay, so the first thing I just want to draw our attention to is in this background section of the narrative, in which we describe Brandt's definition of a literacy sponsor. And I just really want us to home in on the both complexity and the capaciousness of Brandt's definition of literacy sponsors. So that's right here, I'll highlight it. Any agents, local or distant, concrete or abstract, who enable, support, teach, model, as well as recruit, regulate, suppress, or withhold literacy and gain advantage by it in some way. I read that really quickly because we're going to go back to each part. So notice that agents can be local or distant. They can be in your town, in your community, in your house, or they can be distant. They can be anywhere in the world. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about what a sponsor can be. They can be concrete or abstract. That means that a sponsor can be a person, it can be an institution. It can also be like a larger economic or political force that doesn't really have material form. So I want you to keep that in mind too, that sponsors can be concrete or abstract. Sponsors can enable, support, teach, and model. That's the kind of positive dimension of a literacy sponsor. They're there to impart literacy to you. Sponsors can also recruit, regulate, suppress, or withhold literacy as well. So a literacy sponsor can also be someone who blocks access to literacy entirely, because to be a sponsor is to shape your relationship to literacy, to shape your development into literacy. So if they suppress and withhold literacy, that's a literacy sponsor too. So I want you also to keep in mind the possibility that you could write about a literacy sponsor whose primary function was to suppress or withhold literacy from you. And then finally, and gain advantage by it in some way. A sponsor always gains some advantage by sponsoring literacy, by imparting literacy, by bringing you into a certain kind of literacy. So it's really important to also keep that in mind. A sponsor gains advantage. What advantage is a sponsor gaining? What do they get out of it that might have nothing to do with your own well-being, with your own benefit, with your own education? What does your sponsor get out of it? All of these elements of Brandt's definition of literacy sponsors is really crucial to writing a really kind of full, complex literacy narrative yourself, because there are so many elements about literacy sponsors. They enable, support, they recruit, they suppress or withhold, they gain advantage, they're local or distant, they're concrete or abstract. All of those things are really important. All right, so I wanted to draw attention to that definition.